They did it. They made something official. It's actually happening. None of this speculation, none of this hearsay, none of this ifs, ands, or buts, none of this when or where. E3 2021 for Nintendo is now official, my friends. We have the date, we have the time, we have the details, and I am happy to bring it all to you. What's going on, guys and girls? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Smash that like button if you feel relieved, and let me know in the comments down below if you're going to be taking off work or what you're going to be doing in 2 Tuesdays, because this one is happening, my friends, on a Tuesday. As I suspected, Nintendo is rolling with their typical Tuesday Direct. Now, E3, they normally go on the first day, but that first day is always a Tuesday, and Nintendo is continuing this by going on the last day of 2021's E3 and presenting yet again on Tuesday. It says Nintendo at E3 2021, June 15th, 9 a.m. Pacific. So that will be noon Eastern, okay? That'll be 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and that should be around 5 p.m. for those of you in the UK. Convert to your other time zones, depending on where you are. Tune in for a Nintendo Direct with roughly 40 minutes of info focused exclusively on Nintendo Switch software. Interesting. Mostly releasing in 2021, followed by around 3 hours of gameplay. This is going to be a big day. That's 4 hours straight of Nintendo goodness. We are going to be streaming. We are going to be set up. We're going to have snacks. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have so much fun. So make sure to subscribe so you're ready for all of that. Turn your notifications on. But let's dig into what this means, all right? There are some interesting things here, especially with all the Switch Pro stuff that is going on. And while this is almost entirely amazing news, there is one really odd thing if you look at the tweet, and it could be a summer bummer, or it could just be a nothing burger, but we're going to have to dig in later on in the video. Something is absent from this picture, something that I think many people would have expected to be in there. Late last night, there was a new leak that a retailer had posted a pre-order page for Nintendo Switch Pro. Central Leaks was on it, now Ninty Alerts is on it, and there are a lot of people saying that, hey, this is happening imminently. Notice how Nintendo, this is my alarm to check and make sure that Nintendo posted. They did post. Yes. Okay. 40 minutes of info exclusively on software. So they note that they're not going to be talking about hardware. And this is interesting because I don't know why they need to say exclusively on Nintendo Switch software. Do they have any other platforms? No, they don't. So this might be their way of hinting that hardware will not be part of the show, in which case hardware would be happening like tomorrow or Friday or next Tuesday. It really feels like the Switch Pro is going to be revealed imminently and before this showcase, and they want to keep the focus specifically on the games. They also say mostly releasing in 2021, which they always say. There's probably going to be at least 1 or 2 things from 2022, so don't worry, this isn't going to just be on a couple of games. It is going to be an expansive look at what Nintendo has coming in the future. They also say roughly 40 minutes, and this falls in line with their last 2 E3 presentations. Both 2018 and 2019 saw 42-minute showcases, so I'm expecting another one in the 40 to 43-minute range. Now, the 3 hours of gameplay for Nintendo Treehouse Live, it's interesting. This is going to be where we find out a ton of details and information on whatever the big hitters are. Now, this is where you could expect to see a bunch of Breath of the Wild 2. This is where you could expect to see maybe details on new Metroid 2D. This is where you could expect to see the full showcase for Donkey Kong, or maybe something we know nothing about, maybe something brand new. And I also want to point out that Nintendo has utilized Treehouse in the past to reveal games, so there might be even more to see in this Treehouse, but that 3-hour block is going to be your best chance to see extended gameplay and get more questions answered, expanding upon what happens in the Direct. And again, it's the last day of E3. This sets up nicely for the awards show. I'm assuming that, the media and journalists voting on the awards will have already known about the announcements prior to this, but Nintendo does keep things under wraps, so it's going to be a very exciting day. And if they do drop the Switch Pro any moment now, E3 is going to be just massive. How will the games look on a new 4K empowered system? What has become of Breath of the Wild 2? I mean, what even is Breath of the Wild 2? We just have one teaser trailer that rocked our socks back at E3 2019. Now, a lot of fans would argue that E3 2019 was one of Nintendo's best showcases. You're actually watching footage from it behind me. Can they top it? The answer is yes, they can, because even though we'll cover this in much more detail later today in Good Morning Mario and in the coming days about our predictions for E3, what to expect to see there, what games won't be there, they are setting up to have a very big day because we know basically nothing coming out on Switch in the second half of 2021. The only Nintendo published game that we know, the only one from their first party, is the Skyward Sword HD port. They obviously have more than that, and we have no clue. Donkey Kong, Metroid, Mario Kart, Zelda, those are the big candidates. There's also Mario Party, and there's also things from third parties, both as third-party only games and then collaborative efforts, as we've seen with titles like Mario plus Rabbids and even Cadence of Hyrule. There's indie titles, there's free-to-play games, there's shadow drops, and there are accessory announcements. And there's also space for some upgrades and updates to already existing titles. Games like Animal Crossing are desperate for new DLC, or at least something to freshen up the experience. That could be a part of this showcase as well, but we'll save that for later. I want to know in the comments down below if you are going to be available. This is Tuesday. Unfortunately, a lot of you are at work, which is such a bummer, especially since it's smack dab in the middle of the day, but maybe you can sneak off, maybe you can get the day off, maybe you can have a really long bathroom break. I'm going to be streaming this stuff, and I'm going to be bringing you up-to-the-minute details. If any leaks happen, if any details happen, you know SwitchForce and Good Morning Mario have you covered. Thanks so much for supporting me and choosing this as your home for Nintendo news and details, and I think we are in for an awesome show. It is less than 2 weeks and counting. We have our date, we have our time, and we have our details. Last thing I want to mention, and I'm sure some of you are waiting for this, no mention of Breath of the Wild 2. I want to save the potential bummer for the end, because this is a good day and this is a great announcement, but why no mention? If BOTW2 is the big focus, why not say it? And it's one of 3 reasons. 1, Breath of the Wild 2 is not a part of E3 2021 for Nintendo. That's a 2022 game, and they plan on revealing more later this fall. 2, they do not want to have a loose lip. They do not want to let you know what's happening because there is a lot to look forward to. Or 3, there are so many important games that it would be silly to emphasize one of them. Now, I still think it is the middle option. I don't think this show is like, oh my god, they have like 500 announcements. And I also don't think that Zelda is missing. I do believe we will hear about Breath of the Wild 2. They just, I guess, want to keep us in the dark. But at the very least, you know they got more than just Breath of the Wild 2. Any flashbacks to 2016 when all they had was Breath of the Wild? Now, that wasn't a bad showcase because they highlighted one of the most heavenly games they've ever made and put on a platform. But, man, with all the anticipation, if we got a tweet that said, focusing only on Breath of the Wild 2, I would have been like, oh my gosh, what is even releasing this year? But we'll have to find out. There's going to be a lot of great stuff. I'm excited. Hope you're excited. Smash that like button. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. At least you can now schedule this thing out, and hopefully we can schedule that Switch Pro soon. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. I love you guys a lot. Nintendo E3, 42 minutes on Tuesday, June 15th. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Buckle up. It's going to be good, and I am ready for it. SwitchForce out.